Hi, GenderBlenders. This is Steffi, and welcome to week 45 of GenderBlenders. This week's topic is, what kind of books did you read as a kid? And can you compare that against what you read as an adult? Well, first of all, let's see. I'm an old broad, right? So what constitutes a kid could be an adult for you. Some of you folks. I am just kidding. As a kid, I'll talk about that. I'll talk about as an adult. But I also have to break it into three categories. As a kid, as an adult, and as a transgendered person. Because I started this transition relatively late in life. As a kid, I used to read a lot of books, and the books I read were associated with what my career would ultimately be. You see, I'm one of those folks that kind of figured out real early what they wanted to be for a career. Didn't find out what kind of gender I was for a long time, but that's a different story. So I read an awful lot of electronics magazines. And electronics, easy textbooks. I was just a kid. And that molded my career. I ultimately went into electronics. Of course, I knew from about the time I was 7 that I really did want to go into electronics, and lo and behold, I did. Those things made neat book reports, too, going through grade school and stuff where you got to do these dang book reports and stuff you don't really like to do. But every once in a while they'd assign, okay, read a book and give us a book report. And of course, that book would be on electronics. Also, as a kid, I started to get into some of the science fiction novels, a little bit of mystery novels, mostly Heinlein and those kinds of folks that have been around for a while. As an adult, my interest became wider. Didn't change much, but it became wider. So what happened is, in the science fiction field, I gravitated towards E.E. Smith, Larry Niven, Isaac Asimov, A.C. Clarke, Heinlein, of course, and Bradbury. Those are some of my favorite authors. My favorite all-time author is E.E. Doc Smith, and particularly his Lensman series, which is the Lensman series, all of them. I have read this series. You can tell the books are somewhat worn and kind of have tape on the bindings, and some of them are kind of falling apart. And that's because I've read those things 8, 9 times. Overall, for the whole series, maybe 8 or 9 times, maybe 10, somewhere in that area in my life. So that's science fiction. But I also kind of got into murder mysteries, Agatha Christie, Hercule Poirot, those sort of folks. And one of the cute ones, because it dovetails in with some humorous stuff, is Cat Who series of books, and which the person solving the crime is the cat. And so that's kind of a cute little twist on things. And I like those. I think I have a bunch of Lillian Jackson Braun's Cat Who books as well. Got into some of the classics: Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, those folks. Humor, Dave Barry, Dilbert. Here's a Dave Barry kind of a thing. I've got lots and lots and lots of books. Technical journals. Because I am in electronics, one of the things that I continuously do is try to, in that field, move so fast. I try to keep up to date as to what's happening. So I'm a member of the IEEE, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. That's a professional society for us EE types. And I keep up to date by reading a lot into what's going on there. So for my particular field, I have to read a lot. So I actually enjoy reading. I don't know that I ever started out ever enjoying reading real early on. But over a period of time, it sure happened that way, just because of my chosen field. Miscellaneous things. Items for education. Various things. Plants, bird watching, that sort of thing. The ability to learn something and work it through. And I do a lot of that as well. That covers everything except for the transgender issues. The transgender issue brought a very interesting twist into that. What I read is still similar. What I read is still similar to what I used to read as a old-fashioned kind of a wrong-gendered adult. And what has happened, though, is as I became female, my viewpoint changed. My viewpoint changed a lot. So I now identify with female characters. For example, the latest science fiction book I read is Sunborn. It's a Jeff Carver book. It's the fourth of his Chaos series books. Very, very good series. And one of the main players, is a guy by the name of John. And, of course, everyone identifies with him. No, not anymore. I did in the first three that I read, because I read those in kind of guy mode. However, one of the main characters is a, not human, but humanoid female named Antares. And when I read Sunborn, lo and behold, what happened is I was identifying with Antares. And I'm saying, wait a minute, this is kind of cool. This is new. And it gave me an entirely different perspective on these things. Subsequent to that, I went back and read some of my favorites. I think I mentioned the Lensman series kind of a thing. And one of the main characters there was Clarissa McDougal. She ultimately married and became the wife of the protagonist, Kim Kimball. And they had some super children, so to speak. And I find myself identifying with her in those series. It's very interesting. The viewpoint has absolutely changed, and it's very, very nice. Antares, by the way, the humanoid there, I don't quite fit because she has two pair. One set and another set. And that's not quite what I have. But anyway, that's some of the things that have happened to me over this transition. And I find it quite fascinating that so many things have changed because of the transition. But my reading style, my reading habits haven't changed much. As I say, from going from a very early kid through an adult into a transgender, I find that my interest becomes wider and wider. I find that in music as well, but I think I mentioned that at some point in time. But that's a very interesting thing to have happen. I don't know whether it's just plain me or whether it's part of the of my transition. Can't distinguish between the two. But I hope this has helped a little bit in understanding some of the books that I read. And there's some very interesting things going on here, like the viewpoint change. I wasn't expecting that, but it happened. So anyway, this is Steffi. I hope this little talk was interesting to you, and we'll see you guys next week on GenderBlenders. Bye-bye.